Working. We turn that TV down a little bit. Tune this in. Oh, this my mic's picking it up.
Are you guys streaming now?
Yeah.
Yeah. How to? I'm working YouTube. A little bit. I'm playing something.
Huh?
A little bit. He's gonna be playing a game on that TV. Let me turn the speaker on.
Huh?
Let me turn the speaker on.
What speaker? No.
Yo guys, what is up? Mox in our Borderlands 4 video, and today we're going over the January 15th update notes. In this update, they buffed drop rates, Harlow, and Amon, and more. Hope you guys enjoy the breakdown. Let's do this. So the first thing, it was a note from the devs. This minor update includes a new set of weekly activities in addition to a permanent increase to dedicated drop rates and buffs to Harlow and Amon players. We love seeing how much you enjoyed our season's looting and triple threat events during the holidays. You can look forward to more limited time big encore events with multiple bosses in the future. So that is confirmed. We'll be getting multi big encore events more often. I think that should just be a permanent thing rather than a limited time thing, but cool that we're getting it. From all the feedback we've seen, it's clear to us how much you all enjoyed the limited time drop rates we introduced for the duration of the season's looting event. Once the event ended, we had an internal discussion about dedicated drop rates, factoring in both what we heard from you, the community, and our vision for how these drops should evolve. Beginning this week, we are permanently increasing the dedicated drop rates on bosses. These changes are a careful way for us to balance the game so that the loot drops feel like a meaningful increase from the base game. You'll be able to get more loot faster without breaking the systems that make Borderlands 4 unique, like the Moxxi's big Encore machine. Looking ahead, we are working on ways to make loot even better in Ultimate Vault Hunter modes to make sure harder levels always feel rewarding. That is a very good note to make. So bosses are getting dedicated or buffed dedicated drop rates. That means that you're not going to be getting crazy legendaries just dropping out in the world, which I actually think is a great decision. That's part of what diluted legendary drop feel in Borderlands 3 was the amount of world drops just kind of dropping everywhere. This means that specifically bosses will be dropping more loot. They didn't give us any exact values. But one thing to note about the Borderlands 4 legendary drop rate system is that loot is tiered and has variance in their drop rates. So, for example, prior to these buffs, if you were farming like Axmal, just to spitball some numbers, I don't know if these are exact values, but like the bod would have like a 3% drop rate, but the throwing axe would have like a 10% drop rate because the bod was a higher tier of loot, so it'd have a variable drop rate. It sounds like all of these drop rates are going to be going up, so like maybe the bod now has like, I don't know, 8 to 10% drop rate rather than 3%, but the throwing axe will now have like a 15% drop rate. So there's still going to be tiered variance in drop rates of legendaries, but all of them should be moving up from bosses. This does not mean
a superhero remake. Not exactly what we'd expect from an Oscar-winning director.
I'm gonna need you to sign this to confirm you don't have superpowers.
Yeah.
Marvel Television's Wonder Man, only on Disney+.
Oh, could it be? Oh, could it be?
My passion for looter shooters has burned quite brightly for over 15 years, and Borderlands is the flame that lit the fuse. With Borderlands 4, Gearbox proves it still knows how to bring the boom. After fizzling somewhat with Borderlands 3, it felt like this series had begun to fall behind in the genre it pioneered. But breaking away from segmented levels and embracing an honest-to-goodness open world allows 2025's Borderlands to surprise us again. Drastically improved movement makes it one of the best-feeling first-person shooters out there. The story takes a refreshingly grounded approach that pays off.
Planet Kairos. Heard of it? Of course not.
And the expanded build crafting options like healing items, throwing knives, and weapon enhancements are all fantastic ideas. But taking these swings also comes with some unfortunate downsides, like how exploration is quite literally held back by invisible walls and awkward surfaces that refuse to be trod upon. Not to mention fairly rocky technical performance on the PC version provided for review, and numerous bugs.
Stop shooting my ride!
But those rough borders did little to keep me from once again falling head over heels for my first looter shooter love. And blasting through hordes of psychos with a friend or three feels as awesome as it ever has. If you're new to the absolute insanity that is Borderlands, it's a series where the weird enemies you mow down drop increasingly bizarre weapons that you then use to mow down even weirder enemies in an endless cycle of looting and shooting. How bizarre? It's stuff like this shotgun that fires sparkly stars that cover the ground in paint and enemies in elemental damage. Or maybe you'll luck into this sniper rifle that fires off rounds like a Gatling gun and stops consuming ammo while overheated. Borderlands 4 keeps that feeling fresh by continuing to iterate on the silly weapons it gives you, which can now cross-pollinate across different weapon manufacturers for even weirder outcomes. Borderlands 4 is a massive breath of fresh air, bordering on what almost seems like a soft reboot at times. It immediately adds some memorable characters to its cast, like the fancy and charming Levane, who has a somewhat messy dating history with your fellow Vault Hunters. But then every once in a while, it takes a welcome dip back into the nostalgia pool to have Claptrap rattle off a few jokes.
Ta-da! What do you think?
Love him or hate him, he's still here. With a few neat twists in store and a compelling plot about trying to free this planet, I ended up liking the story quite a bit, even if it doesn't hit the highs of Borderlands 2, especially in terms of its iconic villain.
Time to bolt.
Most of the action itself is what you'd expect from the series, but number 4 makes a number of pretty huge changes that shake up your vault hunting expedition. The biggest by far is the fact that Borderlands 4 is a proper open world game that's filled with side quests, timed activities, collectibles, and puzzles to seek out. You also have a whole bag of tricks to aid you in the exploration of Kairos' 4 diverse regions, like a grapple hook that lets you get to areas normally out of reach, a glider to soar over large swaths of land, and a vehicle you can summon on command to zip over hills and through deserts without having to hoof it to a catch-a-ride station first. That might not seem like a big deal at first, but it's hard to overstate how different this makes Borderlands 4 from its predecessors, not just because you've got so many new ways to get around, but because progressing through the story and leveling up your character is so much less linear now. Sometimes I'd spend a few hours just exploring a new region of the map, clearing the fog of war and completing any activities I encountered along the way, while other times I'd race from place to place, focusing on one part of the main story quest line before pivoting to another part of it in a different region. That story took me about 40 hours to complete, but that was with plenty of distractions, and I've spent another 20 plus after the credits rolled, with lots still left to do.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform.
There is one major issue with this new open world philosophy that grinds my gears. It's just that the physical terrain of Kairos doesn't always rise to the occasion of these free-roaming ambitions. For example, some areas are filled with invisible walls that you'll unsatisfyingly slap into while you're trying to glide over a hill or mantle up a ledge. Borderlands has always had issues with its environments being a bit wonky, but it feels so much more noticeable in an open world where you assume you're meant to explore every nook and cranny. And most games come up with natural barriers like mountains or oceans to make it clear that you can go no farther. Instead, you quickly find the limitations of that exploration, and they feel artificial. Although I eventually learned to recognize when a surface was probably not something I was going to be allowed to interact with, it still bums me out that there isn't just some kind of out-of-bounds warning when going places I wasn't meant to. One other major area of evolution is combat, which not only has tighter, more responsive gunplay than any Borderlands game before it, but comes packed with a frankly silly number of new movement options that make battles much more dynamic. In addition to the existing ways to get around like running and sliding, you can now double jump, glide, grapple hook, dash in any direction, and even swim. That's right, water no longer instantly kills you, praise Moxie. It actually took me quite a while to remember all the new ways I was expected to navigate combat encounters, but with the help of some enemies that smartly push you to make full use of your options, I eventually learned to master them. By the end, I was soaring across the map, dodging attacks like a pro, and raining down hell upon my enemies. It became wonderfully satisfying stuff once I got the hang of it. Gearbox has also heaped an impressively high volume of new things to shoot into this game. There are little mechanical spiders that reflect all bullets you send their way when they spin their legs rapidly, creatures covered in crystals that are immune to damage until you shoot those crystals off and quickly destroy the floating orbs they turn into, and many others that I hadn't seen before. Those caused me to stop and adapt to their tactics in interesting ways, and that was always a memorable moment. Even better are the boss fights, which have evolved pretty significantly in that they usually involve some special mechanics you have to learn in order to beat them. These are often pretty simple things, like picking up and throwing a toxic bomb onto one boss to peel his armor off, or having to juggle yourself in the air with grappling and gliding after the floor becomes hazardous for a phase of another fight. Granted, they don't come close to the mechanical complexity of something you'd find in a Destiny raid, but those are often kind of over the top, and this is a significant step up from some of the basic dodge and shoot until it dies battles we've seen in Borderlands past. It's a happy medium, and that makes these bosses a lot less forgettable. That's not to say there aren't any basic fights, but it's fair to say that those can be an entertaining excuse to turn off your brain and blast something to bits, and serve as a contrast to the ones with an extra element to them. Rest assured, the major bosses usually step up their game pretty noticeably. It's also neat that you'll start encountering enemies with various modifiers as you get further into the adventure, and unlock higher difficulties via the endgame grind. These might be things like Elemental Eater, an effect that means enemies aren't just resistant to a specific type of attack, but healed by it, or Centripetal, which causes a black hole to form where an enemy with this trait dies, pulling every Ah yes, teams. Although Borderlands 4 feels great to play solo as well, for sure the best way to play is when among friends, and those who play together should expect to experience bugs together. The vast majority of my time in Borderlands was spent with friends, and we encountered just about every issue in the online multiplayer book. Lag and desyncing from combat if you're not the host, enemies sometimes becoming immune to damage or teleporting around the map, and non-host players losing progress or getting kicked out of quest lines because something didn't track properly, just to name a few. Some of this, like the fact that you don't uncover the map in your own save file while exploring with friends, seem like Granted, some of this is the result of playing a short time before launch, and there will certainly be at least a few fixes by the time you play it. But if history is any loaded with one of those. Although I said the same thing about Diablo 4. You can't call them all right? But I'm feeling optimistic. There are 3 activities you're expected to complete weekly, a more challenging version of a story mission that has a bunch of tricky modifiers, like one where all enemies explode into those black holes of damage, and another where enemies heal themselves when dealing damage to your team. Then there's a repeatable boss
a couple times for these review interviews, Travis, but I think this is the first time that we've talked to you about a looter shooter, which is weird to me because I almost see that as your
flop, unfortunately. It just ended up being not my favorite game in the series.
So let's move away from Borderlands as a series for now and look at kind of looter shooters in general. What do you look for in a looter shooter? What do you think makes the genre tick? Is it interesting loot? Is it that replayability of the end game? Is it the story? Like what part of this do you think is kind of the most crucial to you, or is it a hodgepodge?
Yeah, as I wrote in a feature for IGN recently, the 2 most important things in a looter shooter are looting and shooting. And I think it's really in the name. And like for the first one, looting, I would actually say it's the most important part, because even if the shooting isn't great, like take Borderlands 1, not great combat. Even Borderlands 2, by today's standards, is pretty bad mechanically at the FPS part of it. But when you kill something and 19 guns pop out of its head and one of them glows and makes a noise, that sort of makes up for any shortcomings. And so I would say the looting is really the most important part. Is like, does this have loot that you want to chase? Does it have those moments where you're like, what? I didn't even know this was in the game. This is crazy. And it kind of blows your mind. And then the shooting is secondary, which is, you know, it has to feel good. It has to be a fun shooter that you would want to play for hundreds of hours. Yeah, that's what I would say. Everything else is just icing on the cake.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially coming from you, because you also do most of, I think, our ARPG reviews, like Diablo, like Path of Exile, those sorts of things. So it does not surprise me that you'd want more of the RPG side of that.
Yeah, I'm always hoping they'll lean into it, but it's funny. Every time you interview a looter shooter developer, they always go, "We're a shooter first," and I'm always like, "Do you have to be though? Let's be Larry. Do you have to be?" But yeah, I get it.
That makes total sense. Travis, thank you very much for joining us, talking with us a little bit more about this in the review. If you want to check out Travis's last review, I believe it was Wildgate a little bit over a month ago. You had a little bit of a break there. You also, I think, reviewed 4 games in a row around that time, so you needed a little bit of a break. And then for a different kind of action game recently, we reviewed Lost Soul Aside, so you can check that review out as well. For everything else, stick with IGN.
The reason we exist is because you cannot stay ahead of all threats. So what we do is we block by default. If it's not on the list, it cannot run in your environment. And that is our core focus, zero trust principles. The core of ThreatLocker is zero trust. 24-hour, 365-day-a-year support. We've got some of the most advanced threat intelligence.
Why can't we do like that? I need help.
I slap you. I slap you. Oh, he keeps going. No.
It's just a simple cat VR game. YouTube, okay? Let's just try this real quick. I want to try this. I'm gonna move this over here. Yeah. Watch it. Ready? I'm gonna make him eat this dead rat.
Yo.
What up?
Not much. I'm squeezing into one game before I go to work.
Play Gauntlet or you gonna play Battle Royale?
Oh, it doesn't matter to me. Gauntlet's fine.
Yeah. Playing Battlefield 4. I like that skin.
Fast, act smart, and stay in it to win. Mission brief incoming. Grab any data drives you can. Watch your backs. You're not the only ones looking for them.
on the tank.
Hey, don't let up. You're almost mission complete. Good work on that delivery. Keep the drives coming and stay on mission. Your squad never lets up. That's what I like to see.
Drone's coming down.
I'm coming now. Get back to picking up whatever you find.
Behind us. They're inside the building.
Another good extract. We still have a ways to go, so stay on task. We're almost there.
Who's the friend that needs help?
I know. Maybe this is.
We got what we need. Every bit of data helps. All right, that was a bang-up job. Get prepped for a new mission.
Guys, be sure to leave a like for this. Five Nights at Freddy's, new game, finally out.
Solid work. Keep them coming to help me figure out who those PMCs are.
Now let's just go right to that fence.
Those target areas to keep.
Who we talking to? This car is freaking loud. Can you hear the brakes on this? Oh my god, it's awful.
87 minutes.
Come on, hold that ground.
What is that? Nothing over here. Okay. It would have been nice if you said which way. All right. What is? Yeah, it's got.
We finished this match up in 7 weeks.
Teammate is locking down a critical location. Keep an eye on it. Good job. Another location is secured. Heads up. Shooter and your team is securing a zone. Hostiles off that objective. Your squad combat effective. How long to go now? job. Get prepped for a new mission.
Hello? Can I just go through there, bro? What do I do?
You held your ground when it mattered most and smoke check the enemy. Stay on it. This mission depends on eliminating the high. It won't be easy, but it's critical.
I see. Okay, so we can put that in
get you. Hold on. No, never mind that.
Falling behind. Target is still up. Smoke check him. Track him down. enough. It's just how it goes.
You said when you're
Yeah, you can go clean out your space. Yeah, it's bad too. So, not my Iron Man, I'll say it.
Alright, I gotta get off. I gotta get ready for work.
Alright, man. I'll take care of these kids. I'll talk to you later.